Greetings, all the digital sci-fiction grid. This is your host, Owen Cotter, on Sci-Fiction Star Wars, scifiction.com, Sci-Fiction Facebook, Sci-Fiction Official on YouTube, Sci-Fiction on Twitter, and Sci-Fiction on Twitch. We are simulcasting on all channels. We're going to be bringing on Kieran Burt here in a second. He has a little technical issues. Hopefully, we can bring him on, at least audio or visual somehow, in the digital awesomeness. We're going to be recapping Star Wars Celebration, which took place this past weekend in London at the Excel Center. Tons of great content, everything and beyond showcased there. We're going to go over what he's got, the goodies he was covering down there for us in London. For everybody joining, feel free to comment on this broadcast. We're talking a lot of Star Wars goodness, a lot of sci-fi goodness, upcoming everything. It's going to be totally awesome. I hope everybody's having a beautiful weekend. As we see, Mars is not here today. She's working on some stuff. We've got the whole backdrop of all the sci-fi goodies and all the goodness. Everything from Boba Fett to RoboCop to artwork, all this goodness, and Baby Yoda shirt there. So we got all the things going on. Anybody want to ask any questions, just feel free to comment on the captions here. We've got, let's see, chat stream there. Got the overlay. Awesome. So I was waiting on Kieran here for a second. Hope everybody had a beautiful week. We're getting ready to have another weekend. I will be out of town. We will be upcoming, going to some events. I don't know about May, but June there might be something we're working on in there for some filming stuff. And July is San Diego Comic-Con. August, we're working on doing maybe a little Star Trek goodness. So stay tuned for that. And also in September, working on some events down maybe near the Gulf Coast region and a whole bunch of other goodies. I would like to shout out to a lot of our friends, New York Pete and Chris Tipsy Toaster of IFP Broadcasting. We're sorry we couldn't make your filming thing out in May. It's kind of scheduling conflict, just having some issues with things. But working on bringing y'all guys on the live stream here soon. So stay tuned for them. They're awesome. They're putting together a really super cool Battlestar Galactica fan film project that they're filming out in New York. So really looking forward to bringing them on to talk about that. We've got a guy who's super cool. His name is Paul. We'll probably bring him on this week sometime the next day or so to talk about an amazing event he's doing where they're screening 2 time travel Star Trek films. One is The Voyage Home and one is First Contact, benefiting American Cancer Society, a big benefit he's doing for that. And let's see who else we've got. There's tons of people. We're going to bring in all kind of people on this broadcast. We're ramping up over this next 6 months. And so there's a lot of good goodies. We're going to be bringing people on the radio station. If you're listening to our show, Sci-Fiction Radio, on Subspace Radio Network on iHeartRadio, feel free to send us a message if you want to be a guest or anything you want to do on that. Also, thank you for listening. We're going to be coming to you every week on that 7, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Shows differ in length depending on guests. We're trying to get more longer shows. It just depends on the guest schedule and stuff like that. We've been taking a lot of the segments from these awesome events we go to and kind of re-cleaning them up and putting them on the broadcast. We're also going to start bringing in some flashback interviews. We have some solid gold interviews we've done over the years. So here is Kieran. Let's bring him on here.
Yeah.
There he is. It's Kieran. What's up, man? Hi. You got it all fixed up. How was your trip to Star Wars Celebration?
Yeah, it was really good, thank you. I had a lot of fun. I saw a lot of people with very cool costumes.
Yeah, it looked amazing. Did you get to see any of the panels or any stuff like that? I know they had the stages and all that scattered around.
Yeah, so I caught the end of the Bad Batch panel.
Nice.
As they live streamed that in the end.
Very cool.
Or parts of it anyway. With all the cast members talking about their favourite parts of the season, past season 2.
Very cool.
But otherwise, I didn't manage to get into anything else, unfortunately.
It's like a lottery, as you said. So you're going to renew for season 3, right? Is that the last season, or?
Yeah. So they're going for a final season. Hopefully to resolve. Obviously, Omega got taken. Right. Tech's death. And what happened to all the clones, right. And what Dr. Hemlock's going to do to them all.
Did you get to see? I saw where Ewan McGregor came out and thanked everybody there at the end of the event, somewhere on day 4, I think.
Yeah, during the closing ceremony, I think.
Yeah, that was super cool. They got a lot of stuff was dropped at the event. Can you talk a little bit about what trailers, what movies, what things we can expect from the Star Wars universe coming up?
Yeah, so on the first day, a lot of stuff got dropped on the first day, day 1. The Ahsoka trailer was released. which I was quite surprised at because I thought they were going to just play it internally.
Yeah.
But they released it. It looks amazing.
It's very good. That's amazing. Got a lot of Rebels
Yeah.
cast in there as well.
Oh yeah, a lot of Rebels. Got to look at Hera, Sabine, a holographic Ezra.
A little
Chopper as well.
that
Better
live
not forget
action
Chopper.
chopper looks gorgeous. They had it on stage, I believe. I saw a clip of it on the Star Wars side or whatever.
Yeah.
They've got the
Um,
was it the announcement Thrawn.
yeah. So Lars Mikkelsen cast as Thrawn. Um, yeah, that's cool. I'm glad that they're going with Lars because I mean he can already do the voice.
For sure,
Um,
for sure.
so that's all. He's got sort of the right facial structure as well, which with Thrawn is important.
For sure.
And it's good that they're getting the characters that played them in animation to live action. I know that's not always been the case.
Right.
Um,
They've kind of brought it into, and the cool thing I thought was really neat with the Thrawn arc here in this new show with Ahsoka was the fact that they mentioned Heir to the Empire, which is the first Timothy Zahn book that they did
yeah,
back in the day. So, oh, there you go. Nice. Yeah.
yeah, I got it right here. Yeah, that was a very cool nod. I'm guessing they're going to pull quite a lot of it from Heir to the Empire.
Mm.
I'll be really interested to see how they address Luke, Leia, and Han. Because obviously they're the main characters in the original Thrawn book.
Right.
And you would also think if Thrawn does return, major threat to the galaxy, they would be somewhat involved. Leia, especially because she was obviously involved with the New Republic.
Yeah.
And Leia, unfortunately, is going to be the hardest one because Carrie Fisher's not here anymore.
Right.
So how they address it, if they're gonna use them, I hope they recast them. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't want to see like deep fakes or digital technology. It doesn't look good for like long periods of time.
Right.
And if they're gonna use Luke, Leia, and Han, for a majority part of the film, then it's going to look real noticeable. I guess we'll see how the young Harrison Ford looks in Indiana Jones.
That I saw in the trailer looked pretty slick. They did a really good job with that. I mean, it looked.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
So I guess that's a really good segue to Indiana Jones. They, even though it's not a Star Wars thing, it is obviously a Lucasfilm project. So
Harrison was Han Solo too.
Sorry?
He was Han Solo as well. So.
Yeah, well, yeah. So that was a fun trailer and shows a bit more, at least shows how Voller and Indy knew each other during the Second World War, which I think a lot of people speculated that already, but, nice to see that confirmed. And yeah, it looks like some really fun chase sequences. I think that the trailer hyped up like the more whimsical aspect of it a bit more, especially with the background music that they use.
You got him on a horse riding through a subway tunnel and on top of a train, on a plane. I mean, it's just craziness.
Yeah, all modes of transportation. He's in a car as well. He jumps.
Also on a boat too.
Yeah. So, real globetrotter in this one.
Pretty much. So I heard the Dial of Destiny. What is the Dial of Destiny? Have anybody figured out what that is? Or?
I think people are speculating that it's essentially a time travel device.
What I heard. Yeah.
But I don't think officially it's been revealed what it does.
Right. You don't think it's goddaughters from the future or something, or time travel back to themselves?
Maybe. I don't know.
Awesome. What about they had some other shows that were debuted there, Skeleton Crew and Acolyte, and I
Acolyte.
believe there's a Star Wars Visions Phase 2.
Yeah. So with Skeleton Crew, they didn't talk about it a whole lot. I think they released some. Oh, actually, I lied. They released some footage
Really?
exclusively in the panel.
Did you see?
Yeah.
Is it look good? Did you get to see any of it, or hear about any of it?
No, that was exclusive on the Friday panel.
Oh yeah.
So, I think they revealed that Jude Law's character is force sensitive in some regard.
Really?
Yeah, and then the pirate Vane from The Mandalorian
Mhm.
is going to appear in Skeleton Crew as well.
So when does Skeleton Crew take place? Around the time of Mandalorian or something like that? Or
Yeah, so it takes place in the same time as Mandalorian. They haven't like officially confirmed out. Oh, it takes place in, I don't know, 9 ABY.
okay.
They haven't said like officially, but it takes place the same timeline because Mandalorian, Skeleton Crew, Ahsoka, Book of Boba Fett are all gonna converge together into a film, into Dave Filoni's film that got announced.
You got a film. Well, there's one with Ray. Is that part of his film, or is that another film he's doing?
That's the one. That's a different film.
Okay.
So there are 3 films that got announced. There's James Mangold's Star Wars film, which takes place way back in the distant past to show off the first Jedi. There's Dave Filoni's film that takes place in the Mandalorian era of the Star Wars timeline, and it's going to showcase the New Republic versus a resurgent Imperial remnant. Presumably, that'll be led by Thrawn. I can't really see it being led by anyone else.
Right.
And that will culminate the Mandalorian stories. And then there's the film. I forget the director's name. The one that Stephen Knight is writing.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. It's the Ray film, right?
Yeah, that's the Ray film where it's set 15 years after the Battle of Exegol, and it focuses on Rey and her rebuilding the Jedi Order again.
Wow. So that's like how many years after the Rise of Skywalker exactly, to give or take, or
15 years. So quite a long time, really.
It's about a little bit. Are they gonna do any other sequels with the Rey trilogy, or is it a single standalone film? Have they kind of alluded they're going to do more after that film? Or?
I think right now they're all single standalone films.
Okay.
But the sense that I get, especially from the film that's set 25,000 years in the past, and the film that's set 15 years post Rise of Skywalker, I think they'll develop their own time periods. So there'll be books and comics set 25,000 years before A New Hope. There'll be books and comics set 15 years after, or to fill in those 15 years after Rise of Skywalker. That's the general sense that I get.
You got a lot of stuff from the High Republic and a lot of new, speaking of books, comics, and literature, but some of the things they announced down there. Well, I know Claudia Gray's got a new book, and there's a whole bunch of stuff announced with that.
Yeah, so they announced the entirety of the third wave of High Republic. I believe it's the overall title for it is going to be Trials of the Jedi.
Okay.
So that's going to go. So the phase 1 was what they did obviously initially. Then the current phase, or wave 2, phase 2, I get confused with all the terms that they use, is set in the past of phase Wave 1.
That was the High Republic, something like Old Jedi, pre New Old Republic.
Yeah. And then Wave or Phase 3 is going to be set in the time period that's after Wave 1, if I understand it right.
Very cool.
So, yeah.
Of
And they also announced that Rebecca Henderson will be appearing in the Acolyte as Vanestra Rowe, who's a big character in the High Republic books.
So Acolyte, when does that take place? That is that in the second phase, the third phase, or when does that take place in the High Republic time frame?
So that would take place at the end of Phase 3, if you like. And so that will be like set during the waning days of the High Republic. It's coming to an end. And it'll focus obviously on the Sith character. There'll be a Wookiee Jedi.
Nice.
They announced that, so that's pretty cool. There aren't many Wookiee Jedi's. I think only
the one
Gunji.
in Bad Batch. It's a little
Yeah, Gunji. And I think there were a few Legends ones as well. But I don't think there are many canon ones.
I only know like one or two. The event as a whole, what was your favorite part of, like, have you ever been to one? And there's a lot of cool cosplays. Let's talk about some of the costumes and some of the cool things you saw down there.
Yeah, a lot of Mandalorians and a lot of Stormtroopers. Those were the two most popular costume of the whole event when I went down. I've not been to Star Wars Celebrations before, so this was my first time going there, and that was really enjoyable. Walking around a lot of just the stands, seeing a lot of the merchandise, of which I did.
What kind of companies or booths were there? What kind of things were they showcasing?
So Forbidden Planet was there. Tops like playing cards, so like I don't know if you have the match attacks for football.
The digital, you talking about the digital Tops digital cards?
No, in person.
Oh, the actual cards.
Yeah, cards. Then there was Lego. There was a Lego store there. The queue for the Lego store was quite long.
Awesome. That's cool.
There was like Funko Pops. That was there, and then there was obviously the official Star Wars Celebrations store, which I actually managed to get in. The queue for that wasn't actually that bad. It was more or less a quick walkthrough.
What kind of stuff was in there? What kind of goodies did they have in there?
T-shirts, a lot of T-shirts. They had like an official event guide sort of thing, which I picked up.
That's cool.
That was quite a cool thing to have.
I always like the little pins you can pin on your shirt.
Yeah, I got a Jabba the Hutt and Bib Fortuna pin badge, partly because they were the only ones left. So that was pretty cool. And what else? Obviously, like tote bags, a lot of that kind of stuff.
Did you see? I know the prop store London was there. They had the C-3PO head with the light up eyes. Did you get to see any of that stuff over there?
Yeah, I did see that. I believe actually I got a film of that. A quick video of that.
I haven't checked out the stuff you said that was uploading. I'm gonna check out what you got. Those people are gonna be posting a lot of the clips and things and photos on the site from what you collected down there. Really excited about that too.
Yeah, I think it's more or less uploaded now.
Check it here in a second. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
So the event as a whole, what do you think the turnout was of the event? Like, how many people do you think showed up? I know they just announced that the next one, I think, is in Japan or something like that.
Yeah. So Star Wars Celebrations 2025 will take place in Japan. So they're gonna miss next year. And then when it comes back in 2025, it's going to be in Japan.
Never been to Japan. You ever been to Japan?
Nope, I've never been to Japan before.
I have to check it out, man. That sounds pretty cool. the all the people down there. What was like if you see like and I saw the videos on Star Wars Live and just seas of fans and tons of people down there, actors, celebrities, tons of iconic sci-fi. I mean Star Wars actors. What is the when you go to these events? Like I know you've never been to Celebration before. But like what is the message and what are you how taking that all in? What does that mean to you being able to like the franchise as a whole? What is that to you, the Star Wars kind of the whole franchise as a whole?
Um, so it means a lot. It's nice to see that everyone. Obviously, there's like the internal disagreements over like what Star Wars is good, what isn't. But it's nice to like go down to an event where everyone, no matter what bit of Star Wars that they like,
Right.
can go down and just be happy with it all and be like, oh, you're a Star Wars fan, I'm a Star Wars fan.
Right.
I've come dressed as Rey Skywalker, but you've come dressed as a clone trooper. But we can all celebrate the fact that we've clearly both made an effort, and we can all respect that and be happy. So I think that's like it's really nice to see the fans of the franchise actually come together for something positive.
For sure.
And for the 4 days that it's on, the internal disagreements can be left to one side, and it can all just be a bit happy. And obviously, it'll go back to internal disagreements and online debates for the next essentially 2 years.
2 years.
Until it happens all again. But for those 4 days that has happened, it's really nice to see that just everyone's happy with Star Wars for once.
Very cool. What were some of the things you got to do like at the event outside? Was there any like satellite things or anything inside the event, like exhibits? And they have like a lot of props and different things and set pieces and all that.
Yes. So they had like a mock-up of the bunker on Endor.
Oh, nice. With the
and
doors and so hot wired.
Sorry?
With the little doors that open up with hand so hot wire and all
that? I don't think the doors opened. But yeah, that's the bunker, yeah. Then they had the Endor speeder bike next to it. And then they had a 2-scale ATST, a Scout Walker, which is very big, and it's quite towering.
Right.
Just next to that, they had like a Hoth sequence. So like they had an a Rebel turret, they had a probe droid.
Oh, wow.
And they had a Tauntaun as well. And then occasionally, if someone was dressed as a snowtrooper, they would like walk up onto the set so you could see the snowtrooper amongst all the snow and all the Hoth products. So that was pretty cool. There was an AT-AT, which was not to scale because that would have been massive.
It's massive.
So that was pretty cool. I think that was probably my favorite one. There was Rey's speeder from Episode 7.
Okay.
There was a TIE fighter as well.
Is that 2-story tall and the big full scale?
I'm not entirely sure. It was a lot of crowded, so I think that was everyone's favorite because that was always quite busy around there.
Right.
And then they had the ATST that appears in Mandalorian.
Oh.
So like the one with like the blown out windows.
Right, with the automated robot kind of went over.
Yeah. So that's like the main like massive exhibits that they had there.
Any
so that was all of it. Sorry?
Any costumes or wardrobe or anything like that?
Not that I saw.
What about droids, like robots and droids?
Yeah, so there was the astromech people that make like robot controlled, hand controlled like astromech stuff.
R2 Builders Club.
Yeah, there was an R2D2 there. There was the Goldie from the Clone Wars,
Oh,
so the one that turns out to be a separatist droid. That was there, and then there was a lot of other. I think there was a pit droid that I saw riding on a bike. So that was quite funny. Yeah, so that there was like battle droids as well, but I don't think the battle droids were very automated. But yeah, there was the R2 running about was quite funny.
that's super cool. Did they have any oh, there's a lot of collectibles? Was it more like modern stuff? Did they have any vintage stuff or any like props or cool stuff you could buy that was on display like down there?
I don't think so. No, I think it was mostly just modern stuff that they had there. So.
What would you like to see for the one in Japan? Anything's beyond trailers and anything exhibits or things that you'd like to see them bring into the next event that they think they could have improved on, or things they maybe could have done better, or even more, stuff.
Yeah, I think more exhibits from like the Republic, so the prequel era. So the stuff that I saw was very focused on original trilogy, and obviously a little bit with the sequels with the Mandalorian thing and the Rey Speeder. So I think even if it was just like a Republic ATRC,
Right.
like that's pretty small. The bike that you could, the two-legged walker that you could like use to run across, like even if it was just as simple as that. So I think that's something that I'd like to see is more prequel era ships, props, or I mentioned the battle droids, but or like props or displays.
Yeah, it'd be cool if they did something like a museum of Star Wars, where you go in and it kind of has the overarching all the stuff that was featured in the movies, the TV shows, and at the end it has some teaser stuff for the new stuff. And yeah, I could have screen used or high end replica props, and the wardrobe. So I know they had when I was a kid, a little kid, like 9 or 10 years old. I went out to Washington D.C. and they had the Myth and Magic exhibit. It was all that was before the prequels were made, and all the screen used original Lucasfilm props and costumes and models and miniatures and everything beyond. And some of the prop like vehicles and you had everything. Jabba the Hutt, Boba Fett,
Yeah,
Imperial shuttle with the fin on top. You had every miniature model was built, and to look at the detail of those models was amazing. I don't know if they could ship a lot of stuff from the archives, but if they could get some premium things and like scatter or sprinkle in a few screen use stuff and really create an exhibit, I think that'd be really cool to do that.
yeah,
Video monitors showcasing different clips and all that.
yeah. That would be really cool. Like you could start with the vehicles from like the distant past, and as you walk through the museum, it gets to more progresses further in the timeline, further forward.
Yeah, that'd be super.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Was there any I know they had one year I went there in 2019, they had some Vader Immortal virtual reality thing you put in your head. Was there any video game? I know EA had the Star Wars Survivor game. Did they have anything going on with gaming down there?
No, it was incredibly light on gaming. There was the Survivor trailer that debuted and looks really good.
It's fantastic.
I'm surprised that just to talk about the trailer for a little bit, I'm really interested to see what they do with Coruscant because that's obviously headquarters of Imperial capital. And if Cal's meant to be, avoiding detection,
Right.
going to the Imperial capital, obviously isn't very avoiding Imperial detection, but obviously video game's not out yet. I'm sure that'll be explained.
Right.
But the Imperial Palace, seeing that for the first time on screen, that was pretty cool. I hope we get to run inside it and trash it up a little bit. But so you have to see. It's actually coming out April 28th, so not long to wait for that.
That's funny you mentioned that. because I believe April 28th, I want to talk to you about this a little bit. They're going to be re-releasing Star Wars Return of the Jedi in theaters across the world while we're coming up to
Yeah.
the 40th anniversary. What are your thoughts on that? You looking forward to that?
Yeah, that'll be really cool. Definitely have to see if we can see if we can get into that. If there's a cinema near me that's showing it. Um, yeah, I mean, it's one. It completes the saga, so that's really cool as well for like a new generation to see it in cinemas.
Right.
Um, so looking forward to that. Not long to that as well.
I hope they do the same thing with Empire, and when they come up on the 50th anniversary of Star Wars, they definitely should show the original film, or maybe all three of them
Yeah,
in the movies. I remember when I was a kid, they had done the special edition. They remastered it a little bit and brought it
yeah,
back to theaters for a new generation. That was amazing because I never seen it. So I was never alive in the 70s, early 80s like that. So when they see that on the big screen, and just to see Return of the Jedi coming up here soon on the big screen is a real treat because that's the way it was meant to be. Even George Lucas said it's meant to be seen on a bigger screen.
big screen. Yeah, yeah. So seeing it, because obviously I've only ever seen it on a TV or a laptop or
Yeah,
small screen. So being able to see it the way that it was meant to be viewed, with the sound system as well, the proper sound system,
right.
not just my poor laptop speakers. Yeah.
All good.
So
Well, I wanted to
yeah,
thank you for being on today and going over all the recapping. Hopefully, maybe we can team up in 2025 and go to Japan, man.
yeah,
Like,
that would be really cool. I have to see. Yeah.
well, I want to tell you, thank you for being on the show. For people who want to follow Kieran Burt, he's on Twitter at Kieran David Burt. So follow him on there. Kieran, always a pleasure, sir.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. You have a good day, man.
Bye.
May the force be with you always.
Oh yeah.